welcome to the Career Corner. My name is Heather Swift, and I'm delighted to be your host. The purpose of the Career Corner is to help people move from career distress to career success. Today, my guest is Deborah Engel. She's the founder of Work and Play here in South Orange, Maplewood, New Jersey. And Work and Play is the very first tri-state area co-working space with childcare. And actually, it's the first space anywhere around the world that combined daycare with work from home or work out of home, but locally, correct?
It's one of the first globally,
one of the first.
Yes, to combine childcare with co-working.
That's so fabulous. Welcome to the Career Corner, Deborah.
Thank you for having me.
So that's such a unique idea to think of blending a place where moms typically, I'm assuming you allow dads.
Yeah, we have a lot of men at our space as well as women.
And how did you first come up with this idea?
It was 2010, and I had my first child. I was a new mom, and I was commuting back and forth to the city.
Good
pumping,
times.
Nursing, crying, all that stuff. And I read an article on USA Today about a new trend in office space called co-working. And I thought, that's a really cool idea. It would be great to have one of those spaces around here in Maplewood or South Orange that also has childcare so I can see my daughter throughout the day.
So let's describe what co-working is for people that aren't familiar with that term. How would you describe what is exactly co-working?
So co-working is a shared office space. So it's basically for people who freelance or work from home or writers who have a office space, a quiet workspace to work on their own stuff, but they're also surrounded by other people, whether they're colleagues or collaborators or friends or whatnot. So you can have a community while you're working independently.
So your spin on it is that you can also bring your little ones.
Correct.
So how do you work that? How do you work having both elements in the same space?
So we bought a 2-story building to house Work and Play. So on the first floor we have our workspace, and we put a lot of money into the soundproofing between the floors because we definitely do not want you to hear your little baby crying downstairs. So there are separate spaces. And it's interesting is not all of our members actually use our child care service. We're primarily a co-working space first and foremost, and then with an added amenity for some of our members who do need coverage for their young children.
And so you started this a couple years ago.
Yeah, so I had the idea in 2010. In 2012, when I was on maternity leave with my second daughter, I tried to decide, do I want to work from home? Do I want to stay at home? Do I want to have a full-time job? Do I want to work part-time? Like, what is it that I want to do? I quickly realized I couldn't stay home full-time, but I also couldn't have the commuting schedule that I had previously. So I decided to leave my job, freelance. I did PR before, and get out into the community and meet other people around here to see if this was a viable business model. And I met so many fantastic creative people who work from home, who write, who are freelancers, who had high-powered New York City jobs and then decided they did want to have some kind of balance between work and family, so they went out on their own. And so when I was pregnant with my third, I maybe went crazy, bought a building, renovated it, and then
you know what? Other people nest and they get new wallpaper or perhaps new paint. You buy buildings and start a whole new business.
Yes. So we opened our doors in February of 2015. Did our grand opening that summer. So we've been open for a little over 2 years.
Oh wow, that's so great. So let's go back in time a little bit. So you mentioned that you were in PR before.
Yes.
So you kind of had the sales marketing angle kind of down, so you would know how to kind of come to market. And when you were still kind of freelancing after your second, did you kind of do some litmus testing to see would people be interested in something like that? How did you know that it was going to take off? Because you never know as an entrepreneur, right? You have to go for it and believe in your product or your service, but there's never a guarantee. So talk to me about that experience and how you knew you were ready for it and what you felt kind of compelled you, and if you had any mentors or coaches along the way.
So I was very lucky in the fact that there are a whole lot of co-working spaces all over the world, and co-workers are generally collaborative. So
and that's like the Regis office space, like that's a more high level.
Regis isn't technically co-working, but like a WeWork would be more of a co-working space, or the Yard people have heard of. So there's all these forums where people are just talking about co-working. People within the industry are talking about co-working on Google groups and so on. So I just started reading some of these influencers and seeing, like, how do you do it? What is co-working? What does that mean? We're a suburban co-working space, so it's a little bit different from what you're going to get in the city because our clientele has different needs. But when I started to read about this, one common thread was that you have to build your community. You have to have a community before you open up your physical space. So what I started doing was going to networking groups. I went to Big a lot, Believe, Inspire, Grow. I was part of the Mothers and More mom-owned business group and then started to lead that group. I just went out, got out there, and just started meeting people and connecting with people. And at the same time, I also started offering some kids classes with childcare. So for example, my 2-year-old at the time wanted to do kids yoga, and I knew a local yoga teacher. So I said, hey, can you teach a yoga class? And I had my nanny babysit the little babies who were siblings at the same time as the class. So we ran a series of those classes in order to build the community. And we started also doing pop-up co-working sessions at different venues around Maplewood and South Orange so that we can get to know each other, find out everybody's needs, see if there was a market for this business. And I just got a lot of support, a lot of warmth from this community, which is probably what helped me decide to just go for it.
So that it sounds like you did some really smart things to kind of test the waters and to become a known entity in that way. Looking back now a few years since it successfully has launched and people that is their home away from work home.
Yes.
What would you do differently, or what do you wish you would have done differently? Is there anything or some do's and don'ts that you could share with going through the entrepreneur process of kind of thinking of launching your own product? I'd love to talk a little bit about that. Like, what are some steps that you would recommend for other people that are thinking of launching their own service?
Sure. So the biggest thing I wish I had was a partner. It's really hard to do it on your own. I started this business because I want to promote work-life balance, and I want to offer a solution to others to have some kind of work-life balance. Because in today's technology, it seems crazy to me that you have to be at your desk from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and miss out on some of those moments, touchstone moments of your child's life. So that was my mission. What I didn't realize was that I'd be working literally all the time. Like, I have a flexible schedule.
You're like good news, bad news. Yeah.
I pick up my kids from school every day, so I see them, and I'm home with them 2 afternoons a week so that I can, see them and spend time with them. But then all night long I'm working. So I do often wish that I had a partner, someone to share the stress, the load, the work, that kind of stuff. I'm lucky in that my parents have always been extremely supportive, and they've been suggesting that I start a small business for a really long time.
Oh, nice.
So they were really behind
Are they
me.
entrepreneurs at all themselves? Or they
They
just
are
believe that you
not.
can be? Yeah,
Yes.
they believed in you. That's
my
nice.
father was an attorney, and he's kind of retired attorney, and he's kind of like my mentor and advisor in the business. But they've
great.
been really supportive, and my husband was really supportive with it all, because you need to have that support system. You can't do it
Yes.
alone. You can't
You
do
need
it in
people
a
to talk you
vacuum.
off that ledge.
Absolutely.
And say, no, it's still a good idea. You're not crazy.
Absolutely.
Or just a little, but just enough. Yeah.
Absolutely. So those are some of the tips.
That's good. And do you, besides having a partner,
Yes.
As far as timing goes, like, when did you know it was really time to rip off the Band-Aid? I mean, you had planted the seeds. Did you try getting a certain amount of funding? Did you have a certain, milestone that you had your business plan marked out? And, talk about your business plan, please. Like, what did that look like to know when, like, it's go time? Let's just do it. Let's pull the Band-Aid off and let's see what happens here.
So real estate kind of did our timeline for us, because we were working on our business plan while we were looking for spaces just to see what the rent was like. We didn't know. And rent is really expensive for the type of space we needed. We needed something that was at least 3,000 square feet. We thought we needed a lot of space. So we found this old building that was going to be less expensive than any kind of rental that we could find. And so we decided to just go for it as an investment property and see what happens.
And when you say we, you mean you and your husband?
Yeah, my family.
Your family.
It's really
Okay.
just me, but I say
Okay.
we because I have a
Okay.
lot of support.
Okay.
Yeah. So we decided to purchase this building, and this particular building had a lot of zoning issues. So we were delayed because we had to go through the Board of Adjustments and get proper use permits and proper town paperwork basically done in order to make it happen.
Okay.
So that gave us the time to really hone in on and work on it. I think that some businesses, it's different for each kind of business and each kind of industry. There's difference between having a brick and mortar versus having a home business that you can do if you're a graphic designer or a web producer or a writer and have be almost like an independent consultant versus having a brick and mortar, because with a brick and mortar you have to have it staffed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of payroll expenses. There's a lot of different kinds of expenses.
How many
that you don't
employees
know.
do you have now?
Right now we have 3 other full-time employees, and then we have a bunch of part-time staff.
Okay,
as
because
well.
you need people that are certified to babysit the babies, right?
We
The
have,
kiddos.
some state care centers don't have certified teachers, but we actually do. All of our teachers are certified teachers, correct?
Nice.
And, in order to get good talent, want to work there, you have to pay,
Yes, you
in
get
order
what
to
you
have
pay
them
for,
stay. Exactly.
especially in people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And also, too, you want to feel comfortable that the moms and dads coming, that if they do have children with them, that they can get the work done knowing that their kids are having an optimal experience with educated people who get kids. Because not
Exactly.
everyone gets kids.
Exactly.
And that's a big thing.
And we're different from like a typical gym, because I know a lot of people who use the gym to go, drop their kids off in the babysitting room or childcare room and get their work done in the cafe. We're different in that we do have a philosophy. We are a Reggio-inspired program. We're child-led. We promote independence. That just basically means that when you walk into our childcare space, you won't see any toys that have lights or batteries or make noise. A lot of our stuff is natural. We use sand, tree branches. We make slime and Play-Doh. We do a lot of sensory activities.
Oh, nice.
So
So it's
there's
not just
more-
like go and let little Johnny play by himself. It's actually interactive, and they're kind of leading them through some things. Oh, that's great.
Exactly.
And up to what ages do you allow?
We are licensed from 0 to 6, I believe. We're state
Okay.
licensed child care center, but we are right now accepting walkers through age 5. We did have infants, but for our program, because we're mixed aged and because we're a small space, we only take 12 kids at a time.
Okay.
It's better to have walkers through age 5 for us.
Yes, walking is always a very good thing.
Well, we're a little bit more independent, and we are able to we do a lot of water play, a lot of painting, a lot of shaving cream,
Yeah.
so it's just a little bit more of an interactive environment
Yes.
and for the kids to get along with
Yeah,
each other.
yeah, for sure. And is there any ideas now for more expansion, or is it really kind of honing in on your 2 spaces right now? And where are they, by the
Right.
way? What are your
Right,
addresses?
so we do have 2 spaces right now. We have our flagship location at 19 Prospect Street, which is the workspace with the childcare downstairs. And I should also mention we run birthday parties on the weekends in that space.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yes, and then we opened up a second workspace earlier this year, 12 South Orange Avenue, and that's a workspace only. And that came about because we just simply ran out of space in our workspace. We had all these members wanting to sign up, and we didn't have anywhere to put them. So we quickly leased another space. It has 3 private offices and a communal space, as well as a larger conference room where we hold networking events, professional development classes.
I have been to that space. That's a great
Yes,
office space.
thank you. And
Lots of possibilities for
Yes,
that.
thank you. And you can also, anybody, you don't have to be a member, you can rent out our conference rooms, some of our conference rooms for meetings.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I think it's nice for people to know that there are options out there and what they look like and what they're all about. And you ideally want people to call in advance, right? So you have to register.
Yes, so we're a member-based facility. We have a whole variety of membership plans based on the hours you think you're going to be spending in the space. So for example, our starter package is 15 hours over 3 months, and it costs a $75 flat rate, so like $25 a month.
That's great.
And most people will start on that plan if they're not sure if co-working is right for them, if they're a stay-at-home mom who's thinking about getting back into work but not really sure and wants to figure out options. We've had students, we have professors who are off for the summer writing books, who sometimes use that plan. And then it goes up to, we have a 20-hour per week plan, which is our most popular. And then we have like all access, which is unlimited, and that one is $275 per month for that plan. So we have a variety of options. We do also have a drop-in day rate, which is $25 per day. But we do suggest that you call or email us in the morning to see if there's space, because sometimes,
Yes.
We're full. But
Yeah.
sometimes we have space. It depends on the day. It depends on the season.
Yeah, of course.
It
In
depends on what's
season with
going
summer
on.
vacations, there's probably more flexibility with that. And
Yes, and I should also say we have a PM-only membership, which is great for if you're that parent who's working from home and your kids get home from school and they're loud in the house and you just
okay.
need somewhere else to go.
And you want to finish that novel, you can go to work and play without the play part. Just go to the work part.
Exactly.
So in a few moments here, we're going to be taking a little commercial break. But when we come back, I'd like for us to talk about what is being known as the summer from hell
Yes.
with New Jersey Transit, and the idea of working remotely and how to talk to your boss about that.
Yes.
Okay. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a few moments to keep our conversation going with Deborah Engel from Work and Play.
I call you and say, I'm with the IRS. You owe back taxes, and if you don't pay today, you're going to jail. You can fix this by sending cash. Did you actually believe me? Too smart to fall for it? Well, last year, Americans paid $100 million to guys like me. 1 in 6 people were scammed. Can you believe it? Well, you shouldn't. I just made that up, too. You are a little gullible.
Welcome back to the Career Corner with my guest, Deborah Engel. So let's talk about what we're calling the Summer from Hell, which is 2017 July because of New Jersey transit changes. How are you going to be able to provide relief from the multitudes of people who may not be able to get to work so easily? They hear about it adding anywhere from 30 to 90 minutes additional time as we work through this. So, talk to us about what people can do to bring you up as a possible option to their employers. Give us some coaching around that for people that might want to be able to tap into you as a resource.
Well, I think that this is a good time because of the New Jersey transit repair works that are going to go until September. I think it is a good time to approach your manager about work from home and flexible work arrangements because of it. So the first thing I would do is set a meeting with your manager to talk about it. Our village president, Sheena Collum, and the Maplewood for South Orange, and the Maplewood mayor, Vic DeLuca, issued letters that you can give to your employers, urging them to take into consideration the fact that this is going to be harmful to commuters, adding more commuting time, being worried about catching the train, what's happening, not being able to go direct into New York Penn. So I think you can show them those letters. I think you can tell them that, there's a co-working space in my town that I can take advantage of. We are offering free co-working trial days to new people who are interested in trying it out. I think a lot of managers, their hesitation with allowing their employees to work from home is that they don't really know what that means. They wonder, are they going to be in a vacuum? Is there going to be a lot of loud? Is it going to be loud, quiet? You know what it is. So, with a co-working space, you do have a quiet workspace. You do have meeting rooms that you can rent for conference calls, and you have high-speed Wi-Fi and a community around you, to be creative with and collaborative with. I think you can also talk to your manager about setting measurable goals and a review period so that, after about a month or even like 2 or 3 weeks, you can sit down and say, how's it going? How's it going for me? How's it going for you? Am I meeting the goals that we set? What could be worked out differently? Let's just talk about it so that we can be open and honest and transparent to make sure that the situation is working for both of us. And who knows, even after the commuting nightmare finishes, maybe it is a successful program and maybe you'll be able to keep 1 day a week from home moving forward. You never know.
It's opened up more flexibility. Yeah, I am an executive that works from home and balancing that, and it's just the culture. We're a virtual organization. I work for a company called RiSmart, and we help people, ironically, in transition. So people are staffed all over the country, and we're finding more and more companies we support have more and more workforce working from home, ideally. But then once in a while, you bump up into those more old school organizations where they feel, no, we all have to be together, and we all have to, be on the same boat and in the same brick and mortar, or what that looks like. But I think as the workforce keeps changing and evolving, that this will be less unique and more common. And I think for the idea of the co-working, it's an interesting twist on working from home because you don't have to worry about the crazy commute, but you do get to kind of leave your home base where maybe there's distractions for some people, and to be able to really hone in and focus in an environment that is an office-like setting with other like-minded business professionals that are getting their own initiatives done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's interesting because you're right. I mean, it varies from manager to manager and company to company. Some companies say, we want work from home people. We want telecommuters. We don't want the overhead of having to maintain these offices.
Exactly. It's expensive.
It's
real
expensive.
estate.
For personal people, sometimes it's better for them, their health-wise, to be working from home so that they can be happier and more productive and not be watching the clock all the time. It's a lifestyle. And then there's other companies who think, no, we have to close the door on that and everybody has to come back into the office because we all need to be in the same room together because big ideas are formed and we're all together and we're all talking and we're all networking and whatnot, and that's true, but you can get big ideas from being surrounded by anybody, and sometimes you might get a better idea from talking to somebody who's not in your industry and not in your network already, because they're just offering a different perspective. So but the first thing you have to do is try. It's never going to hurt to try to talk to your manager or talk to your human resources department. Some HR departments already do have policies on work from home or flex workspace. It's interesting, and my husband and I used to work at the same company when I was pregnant with my first, and It's a big company, and when we met with HR to talk about maternity and paternity leave and work from home options, and they said, okay, you know, what department are you in? Oh, you know, Matt, you know, you'll be fine. People can work from home in your department. You can probably, you know, ask for 1 day a week, no problem, whatnot. And Deborah, oh, you know, I don't think you're going to have much luck in your department, you know. So it's interesting. It varies, even in companies that have some kinds of policy or are open to flexible workspace. It does sometimes vary from manager to manager. And if you're the one who takes that leap and opens up that conversation and tries it out and has a plan and is able to prove it and prove that you can reach the same successes telecommuting as you can in the workspace, then maybe you're going to be able to change policy for your company and allow others to be able to work from home as well.
Yeah, and I would think that if people can position this as let me kind of share my life and what's going on with my commute, I'll be far more productive if I can have so many days from home or from my local community to have an open workspace or co-working space to go to instead of all the way into the city. Let's do a trial run for the summer and just, you know, can we have some flexibility just for this period of time? Because I'll really get far more done not being stuck on trains, planes, and automobiles, you know, throughout this process. And I think most people would be open to the conversation. Like, can we just try it? Can we just see how it goes and then have a conversation about after a week? You know, I'm in sales, so I'm always thinking, what's the spin? What's the angle?
Yeah, it's
because
true.
if it benefits them and the employees are happy, then, you know, happy employees want to stay and they're engaged and they are productive.
And you're not going to lose them because, you know, if you aren't helpful, you know, or open to them and trying to make their life a little bit easier during this short period of time, what's to make them stay? And it's easier to keep a good employee in your stable than to have to like lose, you know, creative talents and have to start all over again by training somebody else to do that position.
Absolutely. No, it's always better to be able to retain and be flexible. I think sometimes people forget that. Even if it's just little favors to help along the way of, hey, I can be flexible during this crazy time, out of fear. You know, well, what if, are they going to get it done or whatever? And we actually have a Zoom meeting every Friday with my team. So, and we all see each other's faces and we're all across the country and it's fun actually. And we get to, you know, check in on each other and it's nice to see the eyeballs because you do miss that connection sometimes. So it's nice to connect either in person or be able to use all the virtual medias now that we can really hone in on with the conference calls, virtual calls. And there's so many more possibilities now. Yeah. And I think those walls are coming down more. And I think it's pretty amazing that this was baking in you literally as your motherhood was just like in the reality of how stressful it is to be a working mom and doing that commute. And when you're nursing, I remember carrying my, you know, the pump back and forth to the city and oh my gosh, like we deserve extra medals for dealing with all of that and running home on the jitney and the nanny being like, are you coming home to feed her? She's starving. I'm like, I'm almost there. The jitney's late, you know, and it's just like crying, you know. It's
my nanny, don't feed her. Don't give her that bottle. I'll be right there.
I need a nurse. So it is just such a whole different reality. It feels like a million years ago now for me because mine are a little older, but it's just, you never forget that. And the idea of not having had that stress, I wish I didn't have that stress on me at that time.
Yeah. What's interesting, too, is I find that a lot of people in this community work at the same companies. Like, you're constantly finding people like, oh, you work here, I work there, too, or whatnot.
Yeah.
So, you know, another idea is if you have a bunch of colleagues or people who work in your office that all live in this community or nearby, you can go in together and pitch, you know, maybe
a little
like
campaign.
like a corporate membership, because we do
or
that
protest.
Too. We partner with companies, you know, to have their employees, you know, so then they can still work together, but just in the suburbs rather than having to bear that commute.
That's true, and to have the teamwork going on. That's a neat idea of approaching that. So, you know, I know you had an article written recently, not that long ago, about like the perils of working motherhood. And, you know, we have about, 5 minutes left, and I would love for you to share, any of your insights that you've taught. And as you are kind of almost a mentor coach to probably some of the young women coming into your space that are first-time mommies and that are trying to figure out how do I balance it? I need to pay the taxes, the mortgage, etc., and I still want and need my career, and how do we balance that and juggle that? So, I have my own thoughts, but I'd love to hear yours and kind of what coaching you give to other moms.
Sure, I'd love to hear yours too. I mean, I think that the biggest thing is that the balance is going to be different for everybody. What's balanced for me is not going to be balanced for you, and it's not going to be balanced for the next person. As well, things are going to be out of balance. Like, it's not always going to be the same level of balance. Like, sometimes my kids are going to take a higher priority. Like, right now, it's a really busy time of year with the end of school, and I had stuff in this person's class and that person's class and half days and whatnot, so my kids are a little bit of a higher priority than my work. And some days, work is going to be way higher than my kids. And you have to know that nothing is going to be perfect. You can't think that everything's going to be perfect, because it's not. My house is messy, because my house is the last thing that gets its attention, because I don't care that there's a pile pile of dishes in the sink. I'd rather like hang out with my kids. So you just have to know that, imperfect is way cooler than being perfect.
Yeah, and perfect doesn't really exist anyway.
No, it
whatever
doesn't.
whatever that word's supposed to be.
It
for
doesn't.
that.
And you just have to play around with it and see what's right for you. Try different schedules, see what's manageable for you, what's not manageable for you.
I think one thing that's very important for working moms to really consider is that if they're really miserable and they don't have no flexibility, to not feel like they're stuck. Because I think a lot of times we feel like, oh, I'm so lucky I have this job, I'm so lucky, without picking their head up and to really look and see who else might find me valuable, where else can I use my power and my skills, my talents, and to find that next job. And working in career services for over 15 years now, it never fails to amaze me when people get that resume together and they start talking, they're like, oh, other people are going to want me. I'm like, of course they will, because we're all recyclable. But people feel stuck, and I think that they don't have to feel stuck, especially moms. They feel like, oh, but I'm here, I've been here, and to pick their heads up and see what else could be behind door number 2, instead of being stuck in an awful work schedule, whatever that looks like, if they feel like it's skewed. Because the truth is, you only have so much time of having little children.
Yes.
You have that limited window, and boy, I have my first 13-year-old now, and it goes fast. Like 5 more years, she's out of here. She's going to college probably. Hopefully she better be, but it's so quick. And to look at, where do we want to make our mark that we can have the best of both worlds? And it's like that saying, you can have everything, but you can't have it all at the same time. But you can have parts of it, and to make it work. And I think that in forgiveness of oneself, of realizing that we're not going to be, Martha Stewart and, Mrs. Brady from the Brady Bunch.
It's okay to fail. But interesting,
Every
too,
day.
I've been thinking about that, what you just said about maybe career transition or not being stuck and going somewhere else. Even if you're scared to dust off your resume and start doing it for whatever repercussions might happen at work, or you're just not really ready to do that, one step is just going out and meeting people and finding out what do they do.
Yeah.
A lot of people I meet, are on their second or third career. This is my third career. First I worked in feature film and TV development, then I moved to entertainment PR, and now I'm doing this. So,
And now you're an entrepreneur.
And now I'm an entrepreneur. So you can do different things. You don't always have to be stuck. And just one way to try to figure out what it is that you do want to do, or what would be the right fit career-wise for you, is just meeting people, finding out their stories, finding out what they do. People are really interesting, and they have a lot to say. They also like to talk about themselves.
No, they do. People love talking about themselves. And we are blessed to be in an area of, South Orange, Maplewood, and the surrounding areas that we live in, that with so much talent and so many women that are so creative. I mean, we have from the Broadway stars to the writers, the producers, the lawyers, we have everybody in these towns that you could really tap into. Every probably vertical that you could possibly be interested in, to say, if you were me, what would you do?
It's true, and they all have Facebook groups. There's a SOMAtv group for advertising, media, entertainment professionals. There's the SOMAtech group for tech professionals. There's a new social worker group that just started, for social workers in the area. So there's a design and architectural Facebook group. So there's all these different groups and all these different networks for you just to go meet them and socialize and find out, their stories.
That's so nice. That's a great idea, to look through the local Facebook groups of what the interest, and kind of start the conversations there.
Yeah.
So, well, I wish you continued success.
Thank you.
I hope you get really jam-packed busy this summer. And I think, just helping people have those conversations really might help change some work schedules permanently for some people where it makes sense. And that's a really great gift to give to people. So I wish that a lot of flexibility comes from this crazy summer.
Yes.
That while we manage it the best we have to for appointments or every day, and all of that for what that looks like. And what is your website?
My website is www.workandplaynj.com.
Okay, and that will be down here with your name somewhere. Yeah. So thank you so much for being on the Career Corner.
Thank you for having me.
And good luck with your 3 babies.
Thank you.
Your stakeholders.
My stakeholders.
Yes, that's great. And we will see you at Work and Play very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you all for coming. We look forward to having you tune into many more of our programs on YouTube at Heather Swift at the Career Corner. Until I see you again, I wish you much career success.